this is what it's going to look like when you first open up Maya. You're going to get a little splash screen here, and it's going to let you know that all the new features in this particular version are going to be highlighted in green. So if you're coming from an older version of Maya, or if you just want to see what some of the new features are, they're going to be highlighted in these green brackets. You can see up here, we've got some of these tools here. Also inside some of these menus, you'll see some of those things highlighted in green. Once you're familiar with those, you can always turn off the highlighting, and you can also turn off the splash screen. Otherwise, this is going to come up every time you start Maya. If you want to leave this on, you can go ahead and just say OK, and that'll go away. So before we start talking about the interface as a whole, there's a lot to cover here. I want to just get you a little bit more comfortable with working in Maya. So right here is our main 3D viewport. This is where we're going to be doing all of our 3D work. So to navigate around this viewport, you're going to use the Alt key on your keyboard, and you're going to use your mouse button. So this is going to be the left mouse button, and you can see our icon changes. So I'm actually rotating around here, orbiting around. You can see the grid gives us a good reference since we don't have anything in our scene yet. If I hold down the Alt key and use the middle mouse button, I can track across the scene. And if I hold down the Alt key with the right mouse button, I can move in and out. So you're going to keep your left hand on the Alt key or near the Alt key. You're going to be using it a lot for navigation, and then you'll switch with your mouse buttons to be able to move around. Okay, to add geometry to our scene, we'll call 3D models geometry. We can come up to our shelves, and you can see here's a polygon shelf. A polygon is just a type of model. You can see we have a number of what's called primitives. Those are objects that are very simple shapes. We've got a sphere, a cube, a cylinder. You can get to any of these also by going up here to the top menu, going to Create, and then in this case, Polygon Primitives, and then you can choose any of those from here. Let's just go up to the shelf, and let's just pick a sphere. You can see the sphere automatically shows up at the little point right at the center of this grid. Okay, this is called the origin. So we're working in 3D space, and 3D space, any point in 3D space can be defined by three numbers: a position in an x-axis, a y-axis, and a z-axis. Now, x, y, and z don't sound like they mean much, but if you look down here in the lower left, this lets you know what axis we're talking about. So this is what gives us the 3D look. So the x-axis is going this way. So we need to know where the object is along this axis. The z-axis is going from front to back. We need to know where the object is in that axis. And then the y-axis is up and down. We need to know where the object is along that axis. And having those three numbers lets us put any points or any object anywhere into 3D space that we want. Now let's say that we are off of our object and we lose it. We don't see it anymore. Well, a quick way to get that back, assuming that it's selected, is just to hit F on our keyboard. That'll frame the selection up. Okay? If we move it off and we don't have it selected, we can hit the A key, and that'll frame everything that we have in our scene. Okay, anytime you don't really know what something does, one of these icons do, you can hover over it and a little tool clip will show up and give you a little bit more information about what that icon, what that tool is going to do for you. Now, right now we're working with one viewport, but if you'd like to split that into 4 different views, which can be useful when we're working in 3D, you're going to hit the space bar. So the space bar will give us a top view, a front view, a side view, and our perspective view that we were originally at. We can go in here on any of these views and hit the space bar, and that will maximize that particular view. Space bar again will toggle back to the 4 view. So it's often very useful to be able to see your object from different viewpoints. Let's go back to our perspective. Now you'll notice when I hit the space bar, it looks like a little menu sort of comes up. If I hit the space bar and hold it down, this is the hotbox, and this is just a quicker way to get to some of the tools that are inside of Maya. So you'll see here's the Create, Polygon Primitives, so that way you just don't have to go all the way up here and choose Create and so forth. It's just a way of speeding up the workflow, and that's called the hotbox, and you can bring that up by just holding down the space bar, and you can customize that as well. Okay, so we've got kind of using the Alt key to move around in our scene, okay, in our viewport. We also know how we can switch between different viewports using the space bar. So now that we're kind of over that hump, let's go into the next lesson and talk more about the interface as a whole. And I'll kind of describe to you what the different parts of the interface are for and where you can find different tools that we're going to be using. So let's go ahead and do that in the next lesson.